This book is dedicated to the men and women of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force who answered the call to duty and served the nation with courage and determination in its hour of need. The book in question, Attack with Full Force, written by retired Brigadier Ancil Antoine. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you as well.
Welcome
and
to the Now Morning Show. Let me say thank you for coming, first of all, and thank you for putting together this piece of history. I'm really interested to find out what inspired you to say I'm going to put it down in words. I'm going to write my story.
All people, Trinidadians and Tobagonians, do not have a history of liking or reflecting upon themselves. There are quite a number of people who contributed to the successful curtailment of the coup d'etat, who are not remembered. So the book really is to identify soldiers, sailors, rank and file who participated in the coup, and at least for a lot of them, they can show their grandchildren, look, I did so and so. So the book mentions the soldiers, sailors, and policemen as well, who contributed, male, female, cadet force members in the coup, so that they could be documented their activities.
How long did it take you to put together this book?
About 2 years.
And so that means you would have started in about 2020?
2020.
Because the book was launched in 2022, right? So between 1990 and 2020, what took you so long to decide that you want to put it together? What was that journey for you that would have said, going from the experience to documenting the experience?
Well, I was serving. I served in the Defense Force up until 2011. My last posting was in Washington as the Director General of the Inter-American Defense Board. I returned to Trinidad in 2021. I began pursuing a doctorate, and then I get involved in politics. I was the PNM representative for W. Mira, and I was the Minister of Public Utilities as well. So not until I left politics in 2020 that at the time I could.
All right, so let's jump into a little bit of the content of the book. The book is specifically focused on the Defense Force response to the 1990 attempted coup. You remember, well, I mean, where were you when you realized that we were in a state of unrest?
I was the acting ADC to the President, Carter. And I was getting ready to go to there was a dinner at President House for the handicapped people. And I was getting ready to go down because I live in Arima, to Port of Spain, when I saw on the television Abu Bakr making a statement. And well, my substantive command was Alpha Company in Kumuto Barracks. And I contacted Colonel Vidal, who was the CEO of 1st Battalion at the time. Tell him, look, why he say, yes, we see in this thing going on. Look, you proceed back to your command, take command in the east, and Colonel Dillon, who is now Major General Dillon, he's the ambassador to Caracas presently. He will take care of the president, as the Charlie Company was responsible for President, Prime Minister, Guard, and so forth. So I proceeded east while Dillon took over my responsibility with the President, Carter.
At this point, how long had you been serving in the Defense Force?
I joined this in 1973.
Nice. So in those years between 1973 and 1990, was there ever any sort of training or any kind of plan for a situation like this?
Well, that is what we trained for. I trained in Canada as an officer cadet. I trained in United States, Fort Leavenworth, to do my staff training. I also trained in Canada, in Kingston. So over the years, there's a lot of training that was involved to allow us to be able to respond as we did. The book really, although the book is about the Defense Force response, it gives a history of the Defense Force from 1962 up until 1990. It gives a history of the conflict between the Jamaat Al Muslimeen and the state, the lands at Mokorapo, how it came into being and so forth, that led up to the conflict between the Muslimeen and the government of Trinidad and Tobago.
But I'm really interested in that response, because you said that yes, you went east and the other team went to west and handled the business as the case may be. But do you remember that call that went, all right, let's fast forward to the end, right? When they said it's over. We have the Prime Minister safe. Or what was the moment when it was over for you?
Actually, the moment over for me is when I entered TTT. I was in command of the troops around TTT from the Saturday afternoon.
Right.
We took over Radio Trinidad the Sunday, Tatil building the Sunday. So the Muslimeen commanded the heights. When I arrived Saturday afternoon, they went up the buildings, Tatil building on top TTT, so on top the Radio Trinidad, and they were commanding the heights. We were at a disadvantage for a while, until the mighty Trini and some residents in the surrounding area said, look, soldiers, all they could use the top floor of our houses. We said, great, yeah, because we were on the ground, the Muslim was on the top of the buildings, and the residents allow us to use their bedrooms and so forth, and that changed the advantage because we had high firepower. So we were able to pin them down, and they abandoned Radio Trinidad, and we retreated into TTT. And that is how when we surrounded. So I think that is when it changed for me. Yeah. When we commanded the heights around TTT.
So after you commanded the heights around TTT, and you realized that they retreated, and then they were eventually able to surrender. And when you came in and you saw, for example, the hostages, and you know, I understand that there were also bodies.
Yes, there was some. There was a guy who was killed. You all at Channel 9 that burnt. On the Monday.
Yeah, that was down in the back, yeah.
Yeah, and we found the body of a guy who, I think he succumbed to smoke inhalation and he died.
What was the atmosphere like when you walked back into TTT? When you walked in?
Well, again, we surrounded TTT during the surrender. Right. So I had no contact with the prisoners and so forth.
Okay,
By the time we came into TTT, they had already been taken, both the hostages and the Muslimin had been taken out.
Right. I'm also interested to find out about the debriefing session that would have happened after, if there was any. Because after all of this is days of conflict we're talking about. This is days of action, days of trauma, days of dealing with something very, very unorthodox and something that we never had to deal with before. How was the debriefing session after that?
Well, first of all, you cannot have a coup without troops.
Right.
Right? The Muslimin attack was a very good terrorist attack. They took out police headquarters, they took out the Red House, they captured hostages, and they took over television stations.
The state television station.
State television station. And that is why I went east to Kumuto Barracks on Friday afternoon. Everybody was focusing about what was going on in Port. We needed to know where they're getting troops from. And the one place you could get troops from is external. So we took over Piarco International Airport and made the runway impassable. No planes can land. We did the same with Waller Field. And we said, look here, these guys have taken over television station, the Red House, the Block Police Headquarters, but they must have some follow-on troops. And they didn't have follow-on troops. So we realized that. So by Saturday morning, Colonel Vidal was able to order me to bring troops from Kumuto and attack TTT. So we were pulling troops, as you would realize. Soldiers keep coming in, sailors keep coming in, reporting for duty wherever they are, and we keep building up our forces.
And adding that pressure.
And we will see no additional troops coming from them.
Okay. If we are interested in getting a copy of the book, how can persons do so?
They are available in quite a number of bookstores. Charan's bookstores, RIK, in Ishmael and Khan. There's a bookstore. Oh God. It slips me now.
That's all right. So either way, we could look it up and you can find it. The name of the book is Attack with Full Force, written by...
It's also on Amazon.com.
Beautiful, easy to find then. If there's one thing you want people to take from the book after reading it, what would that be?
The contribution of, as I said, dedicated is the soul. Not just the officers, but to the rank and file. Privates, it tells you the privates, who are the sergeants, and there's pictures of them as well.
Nice.
It's a tool for the military to use in terms of planning, training courses. We tend to use battles, international battles. You know, I trained in Leavenworth. I went to Gettysburg and saw the Americans and their battles. The book allows you the training of troops, role-playing. Somebody could play myself at TTT, Brigadier Joseph.
So essentially, it's a research tool.
It's a research tool.
That we can definitely use to implement. Let me say thank you very much, Brigadier, for joining us this morning. And thank you for writing this book that we can contribute to an aspect of our history now.
My pleasure being here.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a quick break and we come back with more conversations about the 1990 attempted coup. Stay tuned.
Lovely life, until a man opened the door and showed us our other side. And all our make an illusion.